I was just sitting here in my motel room in Southern Illinois. I'm doing a revival here, and I was just thinking about the world, and I was thinking about how things are getting so crazy. You ever just feel overwhelmed? You ever feel like the world's got your number, and you're not sure you're going to be able to survive this thing? Well, I've been studying this really awesome passage out of First John. First John chapter 4 and verse 4. The King James basically says this: greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. It's just, wow. Greater is he that's in you than he that is in the world. That gives me so much hope. You know what I'm saying? Check out this story.
It was a really awkward moment. You see, the man had never really been loved all of his life. He grew up in an abusive home, and all of the abuse that swirled around him, it made him not really want to have people come into his close proximity. He hated being touched. He didn't want anybody up in his space. But he had a horrible automobile accident. In fact, it almost killed him. And when they arrived at the hospital, it was determined by the surgeons he's got to have an immediate heart transplant. It just so happens that earlier that day, a young man had had an accident as well, and he died. But they were able to get the heart from that young man, and because the parents had already agreed, and the young man, before he passed away, had agreed that it would be okay to use his vital organs to save someone else's life, the man who was unloved all of his life received that heart. And many weeks later, the heart was beating fine and doing well, and the man was recovering, and a couple months passed, and just because of various circumstances, he actually was able to meet the parents of the son who had given his heart so that the man could live. It was awkward, very, very awkward. The father of the son walked into the room first, and with tears in his eyes, he asked the strange man, he said, Can I hear the heartbeat of my son? And the man didn't really know how to answer that. Obviously, he felt that it was important that the father be validated in that way, and so he said, sure. He didn't really know what was going to happen, but the father walked close, and then he again asked permission. Can I put my head on your chest so I can hear the heartbeat of my son? Awkward, but the man said, sure. And he opened his arms wide, and the father placed his head against the chest of that stranger. But in that moment, there was a kinship, a bond. He heard the familiar thump, 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 thump. Eyes filled with tears as he heard his son's heart beating inside the chest of this man. He stood there, the father, for some time, and the man's arms were getting tired. He didn't know what else to do. And although it was totally uncomfortable for him to have someone in his context that way, finally he just lowered his arms around the back of the father, and he held him, and they hugged as they stood there. And it was a sweet moment. My friends, you need to know this. When God hears the heartbeat of his son within the chest of anyone, you, me, he's going to love that person. He's going to do everything he can to preserve that person. And we have the heartbeat of Jesus.
Now, I don't know about you, but I need that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? I need those kind of stories. I need to hear that kind of hope. I need to know that God can hear the thump, 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 thump of Jesus in my chest. You got this. Hang in there. You got this.